All right. Hello. My name's Tim Berggren. I work for Centricity GIS. We're a partner of CityWorks, which is the software that I'm going to show to you today. Centricity is based in Lehigh, so we're a local partner of CityWorks. The goal here is just to show you this new public-facing portal. It's going to live right on the Heber, Utah website. We're just going to walk through the process of creating an account, which is pretty simple. And then we're going to walk through an application, and just the goal is to show you the process and to answer any questions, get some feedback. And yeah, so I assume you guys got some handouts there. Those are basically how-to guides, right, to how the process can work, just helpful information. The goal is to make it as intuitive as possible, this process. So the combination of these how-to guides, as well as we'll show you in the actual portal, there's some user guide information that makes it hopefully helpful for you. So where this public-facing portal lives, it's called public access. It's just it's a way to submit applications, right? So if you want to follow along, both people online that are joining the call and then also anyone here, I will go slowly through the process. And also, if you have any questions, we will have some time at the end. And for people online, you can put them in the actual Teams meeting. You can pose any questions there, and we will address those towards the end. So if you go to heberut.gov, you should land here, right, the home page. If you go to departments, I know there's a lot of links there, but if you go down under community development, you will see the planning division. If you click on that, bring you into this next page where it has some news. If you go to the left side on that side menu, you should see applications. And if you click that, and then I'm not sure, Anthony, where this will ultimately live, but
in a number of places.
In a number of places. So this is just a temporary or location for now. Keep in mind, we are not live with this yet. We're looking at September 16th. So that doesn't mean you can't create an account right now as we go through this. In fact, we encourage you to. But just know that it's not actually live until September 16th. So yes, we're here we went departments, went to planning division, and then clicked on applications here. And then on this second paragraph here, you'll see public portal. If you click on that, it'll launch you into
Or any of the applications.
Or any of the, okay, any of the applications as well. Thank you. So in here, you will see towards the top, login, don't have an account. You can just hit sign up right there. And here you can put in your credentials. The email address is very important. That is how all notifications back and forth between Heber City internally will communicate with you. Also, the email address will tie to all your applications, right? And say you are, and I'll demonstrate in a second here, but you can be added to an application that you didn't necessarily create, but you're considered a person, a people role on that application. You will be associated to that by your email. It'll make more sense when we go through. So you can put in your email address here. The password, I don't think it's anything, mine will say, I don't think there's specific requirements that are I think just the capital letters, the only thing you need. And then personal information, first name, last name, address, etc. And I would put in mobile phone. It would be preferred. You can do home phone too. It doesn't, but up to you. I will give everyone a few seconds to do this. Sorry, Sid. Okay. Hmm. After this, you will get you'll get, after you hit register, you'll come into a new page that quickly just says, hey, we've sent you an email, please. So you have to go to your email really quick to confirm your registration. That shouldn't take long, but in order to officially register, you do have to click on that email that was sent to you. This is the that you should have gotten. So, yep, if you just navigate to your email and then do that verification. We'll give it about 30 more seconds and then we'll keep going forward. Okay. So you should have been brought back to this landing page. So whatever you used for your username, your email, you'd put that in here and then your password as well. And keep in mind in the future, there is that forget password link. So should be good now, but something to note. All right, we go ahead and log in. Now yours will look a little bit different than mine. I have some of these test applications here on the map where they are. You should see a clean slate up here, right? You don't have any submitted, incomplete applications, or fees due. These are the 3 tabs that we have. We might have a couple more, but they are just pretty straightforward. You have your ones that you've gone through the whole process submitted. You have ones that you've started, right? And then ones that are at a status in the application process of fees due. So just a quick couple navigational things. The Heber City logo is equivalent to the home button. So if you're in an application, you've started it, but you don't have time to finish, or you want to go back, or any time that you essentially want to come back to this home page, the Heber City logo is your home button. The other options you'll see this in the top right. That's where you can log out there if you'd like. You can also reset your password there. And just so you know, if you don't have any activity on this page, there's a 30-minute timeout. So if you start an application and then you get to the section where you have to upload attachments, and you're getting them, and it takes longer than 30 minutes. If you go back, it'll save from the previous section, but it'll be logged out because there's inactivity for 30 minutes. So just something to note. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So yes, if you get any funky, it might give you a little error message if you try and upload those documents or you try and do something after 30 minutes, just click around and log back in. So with that said, let's just create an application. You can create, if you're following along, you can create whatever application you'd like. I'm going to do a preliminary plat. As you'll see, once we get in here, we have various what CityWorks will call categories. So it's a way to organize the various applications. If you hover over some of them or all of them, it'll tell you a little bit more here about what lives inside each folder. So planning and zoning has the most right now. If you come in here, you'll notice there's even more categories, right? So you have your subdivisions, your PIDs, your zoning and general plans, and also you have the ability to set up pre-development, pre-application meetings. Yeah. And then below, these are kind of some standalone applications, right? So ones that don't necessarily fall under any of these folders. So I'm going to go into subdivision and plats. I'm going to click on preliminary subdivision. What'll happen is it'll bring up this application info page. Each one will have information about that application specific to it. So what's it about? What's the vesting process? The fact that it's going to receive 4 reviews, the comment review meetings, just all information that will hopefully help you understand the whole process. One important thing, and we try and note it wherever there is a hyperlink throughout this process, is to, if you want to click on something to, maybe see the current zoning map, see the city staff, please just right click and open link in a new tab. If you don't, it's just the system, it'll take you directly to that link. I wish it did not. I wish it just opened in a new tab, but that is out of our control. So just right click on any hyperlinks, any links that you see, and it'll bring you into that respective tab. Once again, we try and note that throughout, but just keep that in mind. And then after you've read through the application info specific to that application, you can hit close, and then you'll notice you're still highlighted on whatever application you selected, and then you can hit begin application. So in here, first you'll notice we have the project name. This will be universal for whatever application you're applying for. It's just the system likes to give the project a name, right? So it can be up to 80 characters. So however you'd like to describe you're doing. So just, it's not required, but it is definitely preferred that we put something. It's how internally staff could search for them. It's just helpful for organizing and knowing which applications we're dealing with. So I will just do test, give it a name there. For location, you'll notice there is a boundary. So this white line delineates that. If you try and click on a parcel or property outside and then move forward, it will tell you outside of city limits, contact Wasatch County. So this application is looking within the city boundaries, just something to be aware of. So we came around and we were to, it should, as you zoom in, you'll notice parcel numbers appear, right? So you can play around in the map, find the location that you're proposing. And yeah, so keep in mind that you have to zoom into a certain point and then the parcel numbers will appear. If you click on one, it will populate the location, right? Give you the parcel number, and the city name is pretty obvious there. So you can also type in the address, up to you, but sometimes it's fun to move around on the map. It is a pretty up-to-date ortho imagery, satellite imagery. As you'll notice too, as we're going through this, each section has this user guide. So I think it's super helpful to just take a look, and it'll remember wherever you leave it. So if you find it kind of annoying being up, super low or super high, you can move it up or down. I think, around a third of the screen is about right. And so as you'll see, this first section, this main section, it's just telling you up front, when we get to the final step, which is uploading attachments, documents, you will need the following items, right? So you will need to upload these. Yes, you could start the process, but you will not be able to submit until we have these. Keep in mind, there's also, and we'll talk more about it when we get there, there's called recommended documents, so they're not required, but would be nice if you have them to provide them. It'll only help expedite the process, the review process. So these are the required ones. This one, the affordable housing plan recommendation, that is, for example, a recommended one. Tells you that will be application fees that are assessed and applied after it is reviewed for completeness, and then the location that we just went through. So then hit next to move forward. So I won't go back to the beginning, go hit the home button, but I want to make it known when we saw that tab of submitted and then incomplete. Incomplete applications, they will save as long as you have hit next. So that'll remember that we just put in our project name here and our address. But for example, should have, sorry. Go back. Maybe not on the, yeah. Oh, there we go. So if you were to start filling this out and, you got, halfway done, but didn't hit next, it won't save what you put in there so far. So you have to hit next at a section to then in the incomplete applications to view what you've put in already. So it's important to remember that, just because you could be working on your project description, what you're trying to do, figuring out number of acres, the zoning, etc., and then forget to hit next. So it's important just to fill out a section, hit next, and then you can come back to the next section if you need to at a later time. So once again, you'll notice the user guide here at the bottom. It tells you all fields that are highlighted in orange, red, whatever color, those are required. So you have to put something in here. This project description, this can be lengthy. This can be up to 500-600 characters, I think. So you could put in as much as you want there, right? So I'm just going to put in testing, but yes, this is ideally you're providing as much information as possible about this preliminary plat. The number of acres, this is a number. So if you tried to type in 10, it won't allow that. So you can do decimals, right? But keep in mind that it has to be a number. Then if we come to the zone current land use designation, this is a drop down. So you would scroll down and find that. If you are not sure, once again in the user guide towards the bottom here, you'll see this. I'm going to zoom in just a little. Hopefully that helps. You'll see this city zone map. And this is the same idea that I was mentioning before. You definitely would like to right click and open in a new tab. And then in there, you could navigate, find your respective parcel, and yeah, and then utilize that to find your current land use designation. So I'm going to say this is industrial. Yeah. All right. Yep. Sorry, there we go.
Zoom in where you're at.
Mm-hmm. So if we zoom in here, here you can see the respective zones, right? The legend lives just over here on the right. So you could open that up and come down to the zoning. I know we were right off the airport somewhere here. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, if you click on, right. Yep. Okay. Okay. Yep. So if you follow kind of similar to what we did in the first section in the portal, you can do that here, right? And you can find information. We did already grab the parcel number, but here you could see the acres and then the zone, right? So this is C2, and then if you need, you can click on the code to see more. So hopefully that is helpful as you're going through the process. You could can utilize that. So I will go back to public access to the portal. And then there's a final question about special services districts. So Jordanelle, North Village, Twin Creeks, have to answer yes or no to that. I will select no and click next. So here you have CityWorks calls this people roles. So it is the people that are associated to this application. So at the beginning, when I was saying you put in your email address to sign up for the account, as we're going through this application, I'm the applicant, right? But if I were to put in the email address for architect or engineer, once they were to create an account and log in, they would see this application since they are associated to it. So that's why the email is really important. And also it ties it together, the fact that, yes, say this engineer did not submit this application, the fact that they're associated to it, they can view it, they can see the status of it, all of that. So I'm just going to go through. You can keep in mind, please utilize this use my info. I unfortunately, as an admin who's setting this up, I don't have that. So I'm just going to go through and put in a couple of my saved addresses, but utilize the use my info. That's especially for yourself as the applicant, but you could, for this sake, for this test permit, you could put in your info for each one, right? So I'll just go ahead and fill that in. Notice what's different between the applicant and the architect and engineer is the company name, which is required. So put in a field for that. And then the final one below is the property owner. And often, not often, but obviously it could be, you could be the applicant and the property owner. So it's another reason why we have the use my info, is to not have to save you typing in as much as possible, right? So once we have that, keep in mind too, there is the option to add people. So you could add an additional applicant if you wanted. Once you hit add person, it'll appear here at the bottom. So then you'll notice there are different roles. So you could do a secondary owner or an agent, a second engineer, architect, etc. So you can add additional people to this. So once we have our respective people that are associated to this application, we will hit next. And that will bring us into the required documents section. So in the user guide, it is a pretty helpful way to, or description of how to do this. It's hopefully pretty straightforward, but if you're having any issues, I would recommend referring to the user guide at the bottom here. But the process basically looks like you would, it says drop here, but you can either click on this or click on the little attachment icon and hit add. So you notice, I think there are about 12 that are required. So if you hit add here, I realize some of you, this will take a second, but I'm cheating and I have a bunch that I could upload. So if it takes you a second, that's totally okay. I'm just going to add a few, and I'll give it a second while people are doing that. So let me take a step back. The file types that are allowed, we allow JPEG, PDF, Excel, and Word doc. So either a doc or a docx. CAD files, other file types are not supported. Yes, PDF I think would be preferred, but so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go back there and bring in hopefully about 12 of those. So once you get there, each one, and this won't allow me. So each label will have a it's what you're tying it to. So you're saying, okay, this one here, this is my boundary survey, right? And so it could be helpful to go one at a time. I've seen that done, right? So you're just finding it where it lives in your computer, then uploading it one at a time. But you are going through and saying, okay, this attachment is this. And so that's the idea behind this label. So you would click on each one and bring them in here. And I'm going to stop there, even though I know I'm missing, because first of all, I got the file type not supported. I tried to upload a report that's not accepted. So I guess it doesn't like that at all. It didn't take any of those. So I'll go back and actually get PDFs here. I apologize. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to do just a couple to show you. So I'm just going to upload the boundary survey and the geotech report. And then you'll notice that those go green. So if it takes you time, right, if you need to come back to this section, you can, but then you at least know the two that you have. And it's the same idea once you click on some more here. There'll be a little checkbox next to that label already saying, hey, you've already attached this, so don't need to again. I'll go through, grab a few more here. Hit save. And I'm probably still, I have those 4 left. So I will grab those remaining 4. So that's why the beginning at the application info, when we started the process, and also at the first section, the main section, it states, hey, these are the required documents. So hopefully it's not a surprise when you get here, right? Of what needs to be uploaded. Let's see. One final one. Okay, so then once you have all of those, once again, you can upload the affordable housing plan that is recommended but not required. And you can see all of them here. And then you can hit submit. And when you do this, you'll see some terms and conditions that in order to officially submit, you have to accept. So we hit accept here. And now you will get an email saying your application number, as you can see here, has been submitted. Please allow up to X many days to review, right? So how it works is each application will get automatically assigned a number that goes sequentially. So this is our 370th test one. So we've done a lot of testing. So that is your number, right? So there's 6 things that you will always see, items that you will see at the top of your application. You will see what you applied for, which application. So this was the preliminary subdivision. You get the project name that you gave it, right? So whatever that might be, I said test 822. You will always see the current status. So as it goes through this internal workflow here at the city, you'll see the status update. So if you are curious after a week or so, you could check back and see the status. You always see the created date, right, when it was initiated and created, and then you see the location. So you will also see the first section are these comments. So you can add a comment. Internally, staff will get notified with that. I typically, I would say waiting for at least the initial review period, but that is there. There's also the ability to reply to a comment that someone from the city has provided. So if they say, hey, we were taking a look at, one of the boundary survey, and you need to provide this in there. You could reply to that comment and say, what am I missing here? Or what do I need to, so you can have some correspondence back and forth about your application here, as opposed to emailing in. So there's that piece. There's also the people. So these are the different roles, right, that you put in here. You'll see related applications. So if this ultimately turns into a construction process application, you could see that, or if you start the construction process application, you could see this original preliminary subdivision application. So you can see related applications that are tied together. You see your fee here, fees, and we'll go into that in a little bit here. You'll see your location over here on the map. You will see this workflow. You see currently there's only a couple tasks, but you'll see that after fees have been paid, it becomes into this whole review process, right? You also see address here looks a little funky. I would just go based upon the location here. You see the documents that you uploaded, as well as CityWorks calls it case data. It's just permit data, application data. So you see everything that you put in, your project description, number of acres, all of that. So another thing, if come back and say, hey, we think that this preliminary plat document that you uploaded, it's missing X, Y, and Z. When I was talking about how you could reply to that here, if it is ready to resubmit, you would simply, similar to what we did during the application submittal process, you would just hit add here, find that respective document, right? And say, okay, yep, here is my updated preliminary plat. And you could hit save. Then internally, they will take care of that being obviously the second revision, so they'll be able to know which is the most up-to-date revised one. Another thing, there are some choose actions up here. Basically, you could check the case status. You can pay your fees through here. So this will work with Express Bill Pay, which can take, credit card and then also ACH payments and e-checks. So if you come into here, it'll bring you into this section. There'll be a little button right here that says pay now, and then you agree to those payment terms, and then it launches you into that little, like a shopping cart like thing through Express Bill Pay. You do that, you pay for it, and it launches you back here to public access, what'll say amount paid, however much you paid. So there are notifications set up throughout this process. So as we go through internally, they go through the workflow. You will see this get updated. So you'll see where it is, you'll see the status update, and you'll get email notifications, right? Yes. We can turn that off. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yes.
Hey, we've got a subdivision right in the middle of preliminary plat. We go back in now and change everything to this. Or is this gonna?
This is for new applications moving forward. However, if you turned in a preliminary application, made it through that process, if this is up and going, you're ready for your final application, submittal, when you use this appropriate. Anything that's already been submitted.
Maybe go back and do this. It's long.
Well, we will probably do more insurance. Oh, yeah, sure.
Sorry, these get sent to my personal, because that's what I put in for my, I'll show.
That's your thing.
Trying.
So you will see, you'll get an email notification like this that is saying, hey, after reviewing application, please log in and fees are due at this time. So like I said, you will get notified throughout the process, right? There are, I think, 6 or 7 different notifications that are sent out. And if we were to refresh this, because Desiree has been working on it on the internal side, Oh, I thought. Okay. I think you might have.
Oh, yeah, I did.
This should be 0370. So yeah, I did preliminary plat. So notice here, this status has changed, right? So we already got that email. We knew this, but this is just wanted to show an example of how the status changes and that's reflected. You'll see here now that it says it's been accepted, and fees are due, right? So after this is marked as paid, it's going to open up the entire review process, right? There's going to be various entities that take a look at it. They have, 15 or so days to take a look, review, and then it can go through revision cycles, 4 revision cycles total. If there are any comments specific to a review, they can be found here. So if there is an entity that provides comments, you could see them here. And then once again, any comments here. So if you go to add comment, you have the option to make like a bulleted list, a ordered list. You could even insert a hyperlink and reference some code or something to justify whatever you uploaded. You can also bold certain things, and then you can preview whatever you've written. So something to think about if you want to organize your comment other than just a generic comment. You can't change the font or the font size. So, but you can at least utilize a few of these tools here.
Put that and paste word into that. So values and all.
It's more of a text-based, but you could upload an attachment, right? So you could upload that Word document down here. Yeah. And you don't have to give it you can even give it your own label. So if you could, because you already provided your attached thing, so you could say, this is my yada yada to whatever, right? So yeah, exactly. Comment and response. And then, you could do that. So yeah, it really is more of a text field, but great question. So to go back here to the home button, remember the city logo will always bring you home. You can now see this is the one that I just submitted. Add a status of fees due. The incomplete, don't worry about this number up here. It has to give a temporary number until an application is actually submitted. Then you get these various numbers. And you'll notice that certain ones have their own, it's called a numbering group. So any PID is going to have preface the number, the application number like that. These are for, planning, zoning. This is for a business license, etc. So I think there are about 35 different applications. There's also ones such as pre-development and pre-application meetings. Like wanted to quickly run through one and how this can work. So if you wanted to have an application or pre-application meeting, you can do so. I can quickly run you through this one, for example. You select this, this one you could probably tie it back to your, I'm actually going to go back and do a pre-development. I apologize. The project name could be similar to what you're thinking, or what the plat application might be, for example. So you'll notice the application info is vastly different for this. It's just saying that this application does not vest a project. It's just meeting with the planner regarding a development project idea, etc. And yes, there will be, similar to the handouts that we have, there'll be a whole how-to guide on the Heber page website, heberutah.gov. So what this pre-development meeting looks like, would once again need to put in a location, right? So I'm just going to come down here, select this. I'm not going to give this one necessarily a project name. Then you'll see you have, you provide a comment basically about what's the purpose of this meeting. So you could come in here and put in, this is for a new development, right? And then which meeting method you prefer. So this would say you can do an online Teams meeting, it'd be in person or online. Desired day of meeting, notice you can select multiple. So if you prefer Monday and Tuesdays, you could do that. Desired time of day, AM or PM. And then you'll notice this people section is much more simple in the sense that it's looking for an agent role. That's just each person needs to have a role associated to it. So you could just put in your information, use my info, right? And you'll notice this is much different. There are no required documents here. This is a much more simple, straightforward application because it's just about trying to have a pre-development meeting, but it, denotes that if you do have some documents that you'd like to discuss during it, please upload and attach. So you could do so, but not required. Hit submit, and then agree to those terms and conditions. And here it is, right? Once again, pretty similar. There's this is a basic pre-development meeting fee. And you can see the workflow here is different than what we saw for the preliminary plat. And keep in mind the workflow is internal, right? It's just the city going through their process. Once again, yep. Right. So from here, I would guess Desiree would be thinking probably would write a comment. So any comment that is added internally from the city to you as the applicant, you'll get notified saying, hey, a comment has been added, and you'll see what the comment is in that email. So I'm guessing it would sit. Yeah, yes, yes. Like Russ was saying, then from here, this is just a request for, this is your preferred time of day. Michelle from planning or whoever will reach out and figure out the time. They can do that via comments. They could give you a call since you've given your information to set that time up. This is just a, yeah, more of a request, right, to meet. So are there any outstanding questions as you've gone through so far? Um, hmm, okay. So you do have this option to link, which means when I'll show in a second here down below this related applications you see here. So if you have applications that are adjacent to each other, or you think that they are related, and once again, to use that example, potentially a a preliminary subdivision turning into a infrastructure construction process application, you have the ability to link them. So you could say this is related to, if I start typing in, this is the application I just did about the pre-development meeting. So you could say, I am tying these two together, just so to make, the city will likely know as they go through and do their review, but it's a way you can also make these applications related, saying that, hey, this is my, it's related to this. And this is just an example because I just created that pre-development. It'd be probably more applicable for other applications. But if you do that, then it makes it very easy to jump back and forth between them and see them here. Mhm. No.
I mean, the process for a subdivision application, if somebody wanted to come in and meet beforehand, they might do that meeting. We want to come talk before we submit applications, they would submit that.
Mhm.
Then when the next stage is the preliminary subdivision, they would go through that process, it would be completed, and then the next step is final subdivision. So you would kind of link them in as you move through the process, and after final subdivision approval, you go into the construction process. So there is a process that you walk through there and link those applications.
Yeah.
Might have 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 plans all linked back to that same.
So yeah,
Right.
preliminary that had covered 4 phases,
Mhm.
finals for each phase.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good point. So yes, you could have multiple preliminary subdivisions that tie to a final. The point, and you can also at any point link them. But the idea is that you do have the preliminary, then you can have the final. I jumped the gun by going to construction process because the idea is you have each step along the way, and those are all found here, right? You can see them. There would be the subdivision final. So the next step after this, we could have another preliminary subdivision application that ultimately leads into this subdivision final. So we could go through, or you could apply for this subdivision final as well.
Can you create that new one from the parent? Well, what's the parent actually? Was that?
It clones everything and it gets funky. So it's better to start a new one. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. So let's do one more application and then we can open up for questions. We're going to go through the infrastructure construction process. So after maybe the final subdivision, it could feed into this application. We will do this infrastructure subdivision construction application. Once again, this has completely different application info that's just relevant to this application, right? Tells you what is going to be required, what documents, if you need to contact anyone from these entities, these utilities, here's their information. Couple notes down here. And then same idea, right? You need to close this and then it's highlighted here, begin the application. So as we come in here, we could come down once again, come in, and now you can see the parcel lines start coming in. We can select a parcel here, give it a project name, new CP process. So yes, keep in mind again, this can be 80 characters. So you can give a decent little project description of it. Doesn't necessarily just have to be a name per se. Name of your subdivision. That one's been, there we go. Could hit next here, and it'll be the same that we saw before, right? You need to have the applicant, or not the same, this one's a little different. We have the applicant, engineer, and agent. But the same idea in the sense that these are required fields. You can, again, use my info, recommend definitely for the applicant side. And you also, again, have the option to add person, right? Both the engineer and, or just the engineer in this case, need a company name. So put that in there and put in this for the agent role. So again, if there's any other applicable people that would be, need to be added, we could add them here. And then we would go ahead and hit next here. So these are, as it said up front, right? We had these required documents. It was said in the application info. It's also down here in the user guide telling you a little bit more about how to do that. And so since these are required, we will have to either click the drop here or add an attachment here. And here we could grab 2 of these, hit OK. And then same idea as before, we have to associate these labels to the attachment. So we're saying, yes, this is our engineer's estimate, and these are signed, accepted civil construction. Once we have both of those, we'd hit save. And then notice they go green like that. And you also have these other recommended. So again, there's a reason they're recommended. Wouldn't put it in here. You can put in other documents, attachments as well, but these would be the most helpful, right? Having any of those 4, because you might be asked for it later in the application process. So we'll hit submit, accept. And here we are. So same idea, you have your application number that's been assigned up here. Infrastructure subdivision construction is the application we applied for. The status is coming out as documents required because we're doing a review and seeing which additional documents might be needed, right? And in here you can see these various attachments, workflow tasks, they call them. So just the review process, right? Again, you can see the location. You could add additional attachments here towards the bottom. And at any point you can add a comment. Do you want to add a quick comment? Okay. I think it's
Over the comment.
yeah, that'd be great. Just to show what the reply looks to. Okay, I'm just going to refresh because Desiree was internally adding a comment to this, and I just want to demonstrate how this. Oh, was that on the? It's fine if it was on. No, we can.
Here we go.
Okay. So again, if this was this preliminary, say this was an actual final subdivision that we applied for, we could link those together, right? Associate them, relate them as they call it, but it's just so that they all go in order, right? They all stay nice and related. And okay, so here is a comment that was added, right, internally by the city. You have this option to reply. Keep in mind you can only reply once to this comment, but it's nice that you can you're replying directly to this comment as opposed to, you know, just adding a more general comment like here. So when you are replying to a comment that's been added by somebody at the city, I'd say preferred to do the reply. They get notified, right? And then it keeps it together that this was a specific reply to whatever comment was added. Thanks. So it would show up in the attachments down here, and you could click on you can click on it, right, and then download that, for example. From here, you could preview it if it's a PDF like that, but
Go back.
yeah. Mm.
It'll actually be on the task that we apply and attach it. That's where we'll attach it. It'll show up there and then it'll show up.
And you will get a notification saying it's been completed, here's the results,
Yeah.
and tell you that those are regularly completed.
Mhm.
So this is the
So-
construction process here. So when we reply, there'll basically be a reviewer that's assigned to your files. And then that reviewer
Go back to
will
370.
reply in these comments and attach it right to their line, their task line. So you'll get an email, it will be found there, but it will also be found down the document. That's where everything is.
Yeah, a comment on this saying, hey, it's been received, and then please go down below to see the attachment. Did you say back to?
Oh, scroll down to that one a minute.
Okay. Mhm.
I received. You also look on for the construction one. Go down to the workflow. You can see the list of items. I put resulted, received. So those are items that I know like I have or you have submitted so that you can keep track of on the same side that I have received them, and we'll attach them to the document and they'll be in the attachments below. You guys will have. Same concept on the other side that I'll go in and do on the planning one.
So yeah, specific to, I guess it'll be more, let me go back to, yeah. This one, let's see. So yeah, do you want to do the,
It will be these.
yeah, that's what.
They moved them.
So at the very top, you'll see it's in the first review.
Yes,
Right.
so, yep, notice how the status went from fees due because you've come through and paid your fees, right? So status automatically updates. And then you'll see before it was just this, it didn't look like there was much in the workflow in terms of the review process, but now it's beginning the planning, engineering, Wasatch County Fire, and Dominion. They're all having their initial review period, right? And in here is where you once again could see comments related to that. You'd get notified if there's a second review, right, and a third, and so on. You get notified throughout each step. If resubmittals are needed, you will see that as well. That'll be a step here in the workflow that'll say, hey, resubmittals required. You obviously would get notified of that, and then once they receive it internally, that'll be noted and it will open up that second review, right? And so then the second review looks pretty similar to this. It'll be, planning, engineering, et cetera, second review. And then they have ability to provide comments and see if another resubmittal is needed. And then it can go same idea for third and fourth review. What's that?
You can,
Okay, cool. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course.
Mhm.
One of the issues we have in our current program is that, You have to manually go in and send out everyone's reviews when it's done. This is gonna do that, this is gonna automatically send it at either A, when everyone's completed, or B, designate the time frame. My mistake was that, whatever happens first. And so you're not waiting on anybody to go in and click a button to send you your reviews from all the departments.
So
Yeah.
it's showing now, we've done our internal reviews. That's ready to hit the button to move to the next stage, so. We still required on this program.
And yeah, you can see that here at the review summary, right? It is saying revisions are required. You can see the responses from each individual entity. And if there are comments like here you go. And once again, you will get emailed this. This is just so if you ever need to go back, say you've gotten a few notifications, emails, and you just want to check the workflow and see where things are, you can always see the comment too. So
Can I ask you? So this was, I think. You're gonna list your comments. You're also gonna have comments on the plans. You attach them right there to that task. Does it show up there for them here, or do they just have to see it in the list down below?
the list down below.
Okay, so we gotta make sure that we're aiming your level review or engineering department review.
Yeah, yeah. And especially because on the applicants, they don't see those tags that I think we've shown, so I think labeling it, the actual title of the document is key. But yeah, whatever is uploaded right by the city, you will see down here and you can click and download them. We have a lot here because I added so many, but
That-
And it is date and time stamped.
I think we can do something that says like, planning first review, engineering, plans, like, be that way, we need to do that, sure, we need data. Train our commission systems. That's not a big thing for us to do.
Do you have any questions?
yeah, any questions? Do we have any?
Oh, my screen back in.
Can a comment implied be edited later?
I don't think so. Well, let's see really quick. I don't think so.
Oh, you mean after we responded to it?
Issue it. Was it on this one?
There should be, no,
No, there is not.
if we have new or additional information, can we provide that? In a comment?
In a comment or in an attachment.
Can you show them? how to
So if they have a
comment?
new additional info to provide, they would just have to write add a new comment.
Yes, so this, let me go back to this one that has, so the application data that you put in, so when you were giving the project description, acres, this stuff cannot be edited after submittal, but you could say, hey, I made a mistake by adding a comment. That would be the best way. So number of acres is actually 2.7, something like that. Then you hit save. Should have, let's see. So here you can see And when you add a comment, it automatically it's like at mentioning yourself. So it's just saying I, as the applicant, was the one that wrote this. And then internally, Heber City side could reply to that, or they could add a comment too, that then you could reply to that specific comment. And then, yes, your other option is you can always upload an attachment if you need, if this text box isn't sufficient for what you're trying to get across. Okay. Are there any other questions from? Okay. Any further questions here? You can ask anything. It's
Practice and making-
yeah.
We're gonna clean the slate before the 16th, so whatever you do today will be gone, except for your email address and your account you just set up. But if you want
Yeah.
to play an application, you can send one through and I can send something back just so you can mess around with it if you want.
Mhm.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. Well, if anything comes up, you can absolutely reach out to obviously the team here and then myself as well. They can lead you to my contact information. But yeah, so this isn't live until the 16th, but as you said, your current, what if you, the people that did just create an account, it will work. It's not like you have to redo it or anything. It's in the system. You're good to go. When Desiree said wipe it clean, she means we're just getting rid of these 370 plus test permits that we've made. So those, it'll be at 0.
I've got a quick question.
Mhm.
Just out of curiosity, is this portal system proprietary or privately built for Heber City, or is this the same system that any other municipalities are using? This is Steve with our flow architecture, and we work with a lot of different cities, so just curious if this
If
is our,
you want
we're
to
familiar
go
with.
over those comments and hold that meeting with us, we'll provide a link to, nobody can hear you. I didn't turn it on. Anyways,
I didn't turn it on. I did not.
let me do that myself.
No.
So yeah, we're gonna move to a comment review meeting model where if you get those comments back and you feel like this isn't needed, like it's a 5-minute or something really simple or easy, you say, I don't have questions, you don't have to go through that meeting. If you want to, you're gonna get a link to where you can go to the CRM meeting and basically schedule that. And we're gonna start doing those basically on a weekly basis instead of every 2 weeks. And just by appointment, on Wednesday mornings. So that way, it's just we don't waste people's time, our time, your time, if it's one comment or you're gonna see those comments before. So just be aware of that. I'm hoping that will help streamline some of the and save time for everybody. Again, if it's not worth their anybody's time to be there, if it's one comment, you have no questions. So, and that you'll have 4 of those, one with every submittal. If for some reason you request another one, you go over 5 at that point. That's not calculated in those fees, and you may have to pay an additional fee. But the intent is that you're gonna get one of those for every submittal. Just like, instead of doing one DRC or one DRB period, and then just communicating with those, we'll have them with their submittal if you want it. Any questions on that? That's yeah, there won't be a DRB meeting where we're gonna work with all the entities that we would request that they'll be there as well. This, again, it's gonna be on some fixed time frame, just like we have a 30-minute time slot now, but again, at your request, as opposed to just an automatic meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, there's no other